Welcome to cat-cow. So cat-cow starts in a quadruped position, meaning all four limbs are on the floor, sort of on a tabletop, right? Our spine at the tabletop, our arms and our legs are the legs of the table. And quadruped is a position that we developed, right, into. So we came from being an infant to being able to come onto all fours, to be able to crawl. That crawling developmentally allowed us then to be able to stand up and walk through space as a bipedal person or animal. So when we are working in quadruped cat-cow, we are working in what's called the sagittal plane, flexion and extension. So we're really working with the spine, but I also want you to know that the arms and the legs are what we call fixed. So the part of the spine and scapula here move over the arm, and then the socket of the hip joint moves over the femur. So a lot of our daily life is moving our arms or moving our legs sort of around the trunk or the pelvis, hip joint. And so one of the things about cat-cow, even though it's spinal flexion and extension, is that it also moves the joint surface from the trunk around the arm and from the pelvis around the leg. Bottom line for that is it's good. It is distributing the loads. It is distributing the work through the joint in a different kind of way. So I'm going to show you 4 variations of cat-cow. So we're going to do a cat-cow that is an incremental moving in the spine 1 vertebra at a time. We're going to do a cat-cow that starts in the middle. We're going to do a cat-cow that is twisting, actually 2 cat-cows that are twisting. And we're also going to do a side bending cat-cow. All right, remember that you can pad your knees if you like, so I'll go ahead and do that. And at any point, you can bring your forearms to the ground or onto 2 blocks if your wrists start to bother you. So more or less, we get into an all-fours position. Your hands may be, not more or less, we get into an all-fours position. Your hands may be slightly forward or slightly back. Then you may separate your knees a little bit. You can even turn your legs out a little bit. So I want you to start at the tailbone. This can be over the course of a couple breaths, so I'm not going to direct your breath. Begin to move your tailbone under, and that brings you then into the sacrum in the middle back pelvis. Begin to tip that under. And then we come into the 5 lumbar vertebrae. So starting at the top of the pelvis, the bottom of the lumbar vertebra, I'm going to start to move through those vertebrae, rounding or flexing my spine. I'm going to get to the bottom of my rib cage, and I'm going to lift the bottom of my rib cage up. Start moving through the thoracic vertebra. Try not to go just between the shoulder blades first. Move up into that area. Start moving between the shoulder blades. You'll notice your shoulder blades separate. Keep rounding. And then don't forget your cervical spine, your neck. Pause for a moment here and feel how the front body has shortened and the back body has lengthened, even though it's flexed, right? There's more space between the vertebra and the back body. Keeping your head tucked, so cervical spine and flexion. Keeping your upper back rounded, start at your tailbone. And begin to unwind the flexion into what we call extension or cow or back bend. Right? So the front of the spinal bones will now be opening away from one another as the back of the spinal bones get closer and closer to one another. Again, I'm moving very slowly through my spine. This is mobilization of the spine, kind of an individual bone by bone. I'm going to come slowly all the way up into that extension. And I'm going to feel that the front body is very stretched open, very elongated, and my back body is shortened. Those muscles have contracted. Okay, I'm going to come to all fours. Now I'm going to really start in the middle of my body. So kind of belly button, lower thoracic, lumbar. And I'm going to lift from that area. As Judith Lassiter says, pulling the abdominal organs up, rounding the spine from the middle. So the shoulders and the head and the neck and the pelvis sort of move at the same time. Pause. And then I'm going to release from the center of my body, soften my abdominal organs down. arching and moving from the center of my body forward and up and forward and back. So it kind of feels a little different than the first one we did. And then I'm going to come into neutral. I'm going to establish a contact with the left hand on the ground. I'm going to pull the right elbow off the ground and twist from the left side and open the right arm up. And then I'm going to come down, place the right hand, and I'm back on all fours. I'm going to pull the left elbow up, pushing from the right hand, twisting, opening left arm up, and then release. I'm going to pull the right elbow up. So this is the twisting. Yeah. And here I'm going to arch my back a little bit and just see how that feels. So a little bit more cow. And then I'm going to round my back and see how that feels. A little more cat. Coming into a little bit more neutral and release the right hand down. I'm going to pull the left elbow up, push from the right hand, coming all the way up, and then arch my back a little bit more into the cow, and then round my back a little bit more into the cat. See how that feels. Find that sort of middle place and release the left hand down. Another twist. Right arm comes out. I'm going to take the right arm, reach it across to the left. My left elbow will bend a little bit, and I'm rounding cat-like while I twist. And then I'll push from the left arm and open again into that big twist and arch a little bit like the cow. Let's do that one more time on the right. Rounding through, so it's a rounded flexed spine with a twist. And then opening, twisting up to the sky and arching my back a little bit. And bring the right hand down. I'm going to take my left arm out and rotate it under the right, pausing, very flexed in the spine with a twist, and then pushing from the right arm, turning to the left and arching my back a little bit like cow. And let's do that one more time. Coming through and pushing from the right arm, arching my back and coming up. Put the left hand down. Now, so we did cat-cow in sagittal plane, and we did a twisting with a little bit of cat-cow. And now we're going to pull the right hip up like you're wagging your tail and pull the right shoulder back and look over that shoulder. So the right side of your body has shortened and the left side of your body has elongated. So essentially, if I show you sitting up, I'm in a side bend. Yeah? And I'm going to bring that back to center. Now, I haven't told you really what to do with your spine. Bring the left hip up and the left shoulder back. And come back to center. So let's go ahead and drop that into cow a little bit and pull the right pelvis and the right shoulder towards one another, looking over the right. So you're in a little bit of a back bend. See how that feels different. Come back to center and do that on the left. Left shoulder and left pelvis coming towards one another. And come back to center. Why don't we try that in a cow? I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. If we were just in the cow, now we're going to be in the cat. Pull the right shoulder and the right hip towards one another. See, proof that even longtime teachers make mistakes. And the left shoulder and the left pelvis towards one another while I'm rounding. And back to center. Good. Now, either pull back to child's pose and really stretch out long in your spine, or if it feels good, move into dog pose and really stretch out in your spine.